Good morning, everyone. Yes, we are in Genesis 16. It's cool here today. It's garbage day, too. Which means here, that means get it all together, put it in the truck. I could walk it out, too. Maybe I'll do that today. I have to walk it out about zero point 0.6 miles. Zero point 0.6 miles. A little more than that, maybe. And put it in the can and cover the can because they're not coming till tomorrow morning, but really early in the morning. So it's got to be out there by tonight. You got to watch all them critters out there. You make sure they don't get all your stuff. That's interesting. I said, yeah, you live certain places. I don't know. Has, that's never happened to us in the city. 18 years in the city. Big city. No, most of the neighborhoods were okay we were in, The last one, got better as time moved on. But has anybody ever had their garbage cans or their recycling cans, or the green bins, stolen? I wonder. That never happened to us, So, but here, where you live, way out in the boonies, right? You don't have cans here. I think you can get them, but you don't have to. As I said, I think they get stolen here too. Well, anyway, so in order to keep your cans, whatever you put your stuff in, because you can't just put the garbage bags on the side of the road here. They'd be strewn all over the place within a short amount of time with all the critters that they would attract. So you've got either metal bins or plastic bins, that you put them in. So what we had was a metal, like chicken wire all around, right? Bin, right? That you could put easily two cans in. Other cans in. I'll put a lid on it. You'd be surprised how you have to protect your garbage here before it goes out. And we actually had we had attached, for many years we had attached the bin to our mailbox that the post was cemented in, but we never cemented in the bin, and that was probably a mistake. Now, for many years we had it; it was all good, no problem, and then things got more rough here for people. It's what it is, and it's a number of years now that suddenly the cans first disappeared. Who would want this? One of them even had a hole in the bottom, what? And then the bin disappeared, right? The metal. Well, it's metal, or aluminum, and you can get money for it, right? Or maybe they needed one. So, after them going, well, I'm not, and so I put more bins out. And the bins disappeared again. It's like, dear me, So I just gathered up some old stuff and I put it a little bit farther in so that the garbage people could see. And I made a call, said, look, I had to put these farther in. I said, we can't put our trash out there anymore. We got someone who just loves garbage bins here, So the ones we had. So I put them farther in and I haven't lost one since, right? They're not that you can't see them really from the road unless you know they're there. And thank God, again, we have to do the same thing with our mailbox, okay? Our mailbox just got trashed every few years, right? Yeah, I guess I've never seen anybody do that in the city, but here, the young guys like to go around with bats and they hit the mailboxes, right? Yeah. Well, anyway, different place, different stuff going on. So we moved that too, farther in. And thank God, our mailman and the refuse people don't mind, right? Walking in a little bit, or driving in a little bit farther into our driveway so that we actually keep our stuff, So, working together, right? Yes, it's nice. It's nice when things happen. You got another way, but you have to have other people working together with you, right? Yes, it's kind of how it should work. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know why that. Oh, yeah, it's garbage day today, so I've got to make sure I get that garbage out. And you know what? That might be a nice walk. I'll see how much there is out there. If I have 4 bags, that won't work. Oh, it could work. I've got that. Maybe I'll do that. The dogs will all come with me too. It's rainy. If it rains, I'll take the truck. I ain't gonna walk out there. So we'll see. Okay. Trash day. Big thing for us here. To get it out there. Not forget. That's the main part. Okay, Genesis 16. The birth of Ishmael. Ishmael. My son's name's Ishi. Often people think that's Ishmael, but actually he was named after the last Yahi that came out of the woods in 14. Was it 1911 now? And he couldn't find enough food anymore. He was the last one of his tribe. A book was written by him, Ishi, Ishi. And the story, both my husband and I, we were just really touched our heart. And since Ishi was the last one, we thought, how about honoring that last of his tribe and have our son carry on his name? And hopefully a little of his tribe too. Yeah, he must look pretty wild sometimes. Oh, he's slowed down now. Okay, Daniela, what you just say? All right. If you can't take some things with a little bit of humor that doesn't hurt no one, this and that, then you got a problem and your life must be pretty miserable. Okay. The birth of Ishmael. Oh, by the way, so with Ishi, there actually is a warlord whose name is Ishi, spelled exactly like my son's, in the Bible. My mother-in-law, so Ishi's grandma on that side, she, anytime one of the children, one of her grandchildren who had a name, she'd go and check and see if it was in the Bible, if the name was in the Bible. We passed with all of ours. Even with Ishi says, hey, his name's in the Bible too. It was a warlord. Not necessarily on God's side, but he's in there. All right. Whatever on God's side means. Abram's wife, Sarai, had borne him no child, but she had an Egyptian slave girl called Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, listen now, since Yahweh has kept me from having children. Again, I don't think that Yahweh kept her from having kids. What's that have to do with God? Go to my slave girl. Perhaps I shall get children through her. And Abram took Sarai's advice. Okay. Couldn't Abram just said, no, I'm not doing that. I already talked to God. Didn't he already talk to God? God said, don't worry about that. Right? Now here, instead of listening to God, said, look, I'll take care of that. You just wait. Is that taking care of it? I don't think so. I do not think so. Right? Again, sad for me to say that. See here, again, how easy it is for the guys to just say, oh, yeah, sounds good. Right? You know, people talk about loyalty, but really when it comes down to it, in a relationship between a man and a woman, and when they commit, right? Where's the loyalty there? It's the most broken promise probably all around the world. Right? The least amount of loyalty is given to the most amazing thing that could happen, a union between two people. Right? I said two people. Right? Because right now and how it is out there, right, I get it. But it should be the same. It shouldn't be a hoppity hoop, hoop, hoop from one to the other. And it shouldn't be just about what? Sex. It shouldn't. Well, anyway, so here we are. This is about having children. But again, God talked to Abram already about this. Well, maybe God talked to Abram, but Abram couldn't hear him, right? Maybe. Okay. Abram took Sarai's advice. It's just the way they say that, too. Oh, yeah, honey, I'll listen to you. I wonder how many times he actually listened to her, right? Yeah, okay, all right. Otherwise, Daniela, I can't help it. Thus, after Abram had lived in the land of Canaan for 10 years, Sarai took Hagar, her Egyptian slave girl, and gave her to Abram. I wonder if that girl's Egyptian slave girl was okay with that. Oh, well, look at you here. I see. They had Egyptian girls as slaves? How come? How did that happen? Huh? How did that happen? You know, when they say that, a slave girl, that means that girl didn't want to be there. She was taken, right? I mean, let's be clear about that. Otherwise, they have to put this in here differently. Maybe they saved her. Could be too, right? But then, considering that Abram and Sarai both are, building altars for, Yahweh and this for God and all that kind of jazz, and then they. So I wonder, what does this really? How is this? But an Egyptian slave girl doesn't sound good to me. I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't sound good to me. Oh, anyway, again, and gave her to Abram as his wife. Well, holy cow, concubine. Oh, I could say so much to all this, but again, are the translations really correct? And as I said already, I'm reading Genesis 16. I'm going, wait a minute, I've read so much in the Bible here otherwise as well, but that's not what it says in another book. The story retold differently. So let's just go on. All right, why am I doing this? It's okay to question certain things in the way they are either written down or what is being said, or again, are the translations correct? Really correct? We've got way more language now. Every language has in a way evolved as well, with more vocabulary, etc. This, that. So, does the Bible, as it was written so many years, hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years ago, the scrolls, does that still stand? Or, right, is this again, whose agenda is this? Okay, just say. So I'm just not disputing the Bible, not saying, oh, no God, this and that. Absolutely not. I love God with all my heart. But I wonder, and I'm allowed to wonder. Because my wonder, and then, oh, wait a minute, evolving into, oh, wait a second. That's what God was actually trying to teach us. Not necessarily what we understand sometimes from just the words. I mentioned that in another video. Yeah? That will strengthen our faith. Yeah? Rather than, as so many people, a lot of people, this sounds like this is just doesn't mean anything really when it comes down. Too many inconsistencies, too many things that, wait a minute, but you're teaching, but in the Bible, gosh, right. So it's okay to wonder. It's okay to then have the conversations with Spirit World and God and say, I'm not getting this. And you know what? Most likely, you will have some kind of an experience where then suddenly you realize, oh, that's how that is understood. That is how you move forward with that particular passage. Right? Yes? Yeah. He went to Hagar, and she conceived. And once she knew she had conceived, her mistress counted for nothing in her eyes. Oh, I was going to mention that. I'm sure in a way, Hagar, right? This was her way, right? To move up in her station, right? Yes? Mm. And she let her mistress know. Then Sarai said to Abram, "This outrage done to me is your fault." She should have just said, "Honey, I think this was a mistake. What do we do now?" What did I say? God already told Abram, "Hey, I got this figured out. You just follow my guidance." And what took over? Yeah, well, Abram succumbed to what? Yeah. Now, the wife who actually advised him, and gave Hagar to Abram as his wife. She did that. Sarai did. Now, this is after talk to me, it's your fault. It was I who put my slave girl into your arms, but now she knows that she has conceived. I count for nothing in her eyes. Well, what did she think was going to happen? Oh, maybe she wanted to prove that it wasn't her, but that it was Abram who couldn't father a child. Oops, that went the wrong way. Oh, who knows, huh? It's a married couple. Who knows what conversations they had? Yeah. Yeah, at that time I could see if you couldn't conceive as a woman. It was just you. You're the one who was barren. God forbid if somebody would have brought up, hey, to the guys, yeah, you know what? Maybe you can't father a child, right? God forbid, right? Yes. So, anywho, so Sarai, well, that went the wrong way. Yahweh, judge between me and you. Well, I'm not getting that one. How did that get in there? And then pull God into it, let's make it all God's fault. Or not wanting to take responsibility, right? Not facing the consequence. Say, well, we've got to figure this out now. How are we going to do this? Let someone else, right? Put it into well, you're the leader. You're the stronger one. You figure this out. That's exactly, Yahweh, judge between me and you. Very well. Abram said to Sarai, your slave girl is at your disposal. Oh, okay then. Treat her as you think fit. Sarai accordingly treated her so badly that she ran away from her. Oh my gosh, that's not right. Ugh. It's interesting to see that. Okay, so Abram now suddenly has what? A harem, right? More than one wife. What starts? When you go into history and you look anywhere where that was kind of a common thing, where a king or an emperor had more than one wife, this always happened. Always. The infighting in the harems was brutal. And they did not care to kill another concubines or even the main wife's children. Yeah. To make theirs more important then. Oof. It's right there. Genesis. First book. What do we need anything else? We don't need the rest of these books. Yeah, not in the Old Testament. Because it's all right here. It's all right here. Already. First book of Genesis. I guess the rest of the books in the Old Testament are just elaborations of it all. Interesting, right? Spirit World's laughing right now going, well, you know what? You have a point. Probably only need to read the first book in the Bible. That's it. Why go through any of the other stuff? Don't need it. Because it seems to me like we're finding every sin, everything that God's trying to, don't do that. I'm going to guide you. Right? Trying to guide, as he tried in the Garden of Eden, trying to guide Adam and Eve, right? That was taken from him. And now he continuously is trying to find someone. So let me guide you. And what happens every time in all these different areas, right, of existence and not breaking the heavenly laws? It's all right here in Genesis. I'm not kidding. Here we go. The angel of Yahweh found her by a spring in the desert. Oh, the spring on the road to Shur. He said, Hagar, slave girl of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress Sarai, she replied. The angel of Yahweh said to her, Go back to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of Yahweh further said to her, I shall make your descendants too numerous to be counted. Then the angel of Yahweh said to her, Now you have conceived and will bear a son. So she's still pregnant when she ran away. And you shall name him Ishmael. For Yahweh has heard your cries of distress. A wild donkey of a man he will be. His hand against every man, and every man's hand against him, living his life in defiance of all his kinsmen. Oh, a rebel. I don't know. That nice to tell that to, well, I guess his mom's kind of a rebel too, right? Yes? Well, in any case, she runs away. She could just, what does God care about? Well, okay, well, that is not part of my providence anyway. That's not part of what I wanted to do with Abram and Sarai. So good, that one's out of the picture, but God's not like that, huh? You know, I wonder now, seeing this, I see God in Jesus. This is, in a way, a beautiful way to see God, on how God was represented in Jesus. When Jesus said, well, you know what? A good shepherd will leave his 99 sheep and go and look for that one lost one. He will do that. It will not leave him alone until he knows what kind of happened. Sometimes you can't figure out what happened. But he will try to go and save it. And in a way here, it tells us, right? No, God's not just going to, trying to go back. You're not going to make it out here pregnant with this child. Right? You need to go back and have a better attitude towards your mistress. It's already happened. Now, the only thing one can do is make the best out of it, right? Yeah? Anywho. And you will bear a son, and he's going to be, right, well, whatever it says here. Wild guy. A wild card. But maybe, due to the fact on how God saw how they were already treating each other in this whole mess, how's that child going to grow up? Are we getting another lesson here? God could see into ahead, not into the future, but ahead. The people that child will have in its life and how this child will be treated, and on how then the child will react to that, right? Yeah. Interesting. Just saying. There. Thank you, Father. Hagar gave a name to Yahweh who had spoken to her. You are El Roi, by which she meant, did I not go on seeing her after him who sees me? This is why the well is called the well of Lahai Roi. It is between Kadesh and Bered. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Now we know why that is named the way it's named. El Roi, that sounds like the king. Gave a name to Yahweh who had spoken to her. You are the king. Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave his son born by Hagar the name Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. Okay, now, well, that's interesting. There's all this conflict going on. Abram obviously doesn't care about Hagar, right? The way he does about Sarai. Yet, when she comes back and says, God has spoken to me, must have, how would else? God gave, interesting, to the woman this time, right, the name of the child, Ishmael. And she went back and told, so why would Abram listen? Or did no, due to the fact that Hagar do what God asked her to do? Went back, submitted to Sarai, and maybe those two had a better relationship after that. Probably still not good, but better. And Hagar tells Sarai, hey, would you please tell Abram that I had this experience? That's why I came back. And that is why now I'm trying really hard. And maybe she really did. We don't know. Right? We don't know. We weren't there. We don't know. The story is here. It's obviously in there for a reason. And when you really read through, again, read between the lines of all of it, knowing what's going on now in the world. Wow. This is, that's pretty revealing. Right? Yes? So, of course, one could find similar things happening. You could read a fairy tale and go, oh yeah, oh, that happened to me. Right? Yes. Anywho. But sounds like Hagar went back and she followed God's, then the angels, as the messenger, guidance of God, and did well because her son was named Ishmael according to what was given to her at that well. That's interesting. Because I could see, Abram and Sarai, especially Sarai, could have said, heck no, we're not going to name him what you want him to name. And what, you had some kind of an experience with an angel, a messenger of God? Yeah, right? But that didn't happen. Ishmael was named Ishmael. Okay. Obviously. All right, there you go. That's 16. Interesting story. It is what it is. But again, I think that a lot of conflict out there in families is exactly the loyalty between a husband and a wife. The loyalty between two people that commit into a relationship, taking responsibility for others, this and that they're either adopting, creating, this and that. Then, of course, also the grandparents of the children, this, that. I mean, there is always a larger pool of people around you. What happened to that loyalty? And why is it that it is so little practiced out there anymore? Right? Yeah. There's still some. Let's see. I'm going to read you one of there's a family pledge from our church. Oh, gosh. This is so old. There is one. 2. Our family pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending God and true parents. We will perfect the dutiful way of filial piety in our family, patriotism in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and earth by centering on true love. That's number 2 in the family pledge. The commitment of the parents of any child should be to God first. Then it is to the child. When the child feels truly the commitment of both parents, right? Yes, sometimes there is just one. Done. Okay, I get it. But it's not the ideal, and it will never be. I think that's one. Well, I guess we'll get to that later. We'll talk more about that later. But just staying with the basic, right? The ideal. Then the loyalty of the child, filial piety, right? That we first are showing the child, right? As parents, to God. Then the child will learn from us to be filial to its parents. Learning then. And then, of course, once the child grows up and starts family on its own, then what, right? Then there's always a good path. Goes on and on and on, right? Otherwise, what happens? Is Ishmael at fault? I don't think so, right? Yeah. Anywho, there it is. Oh, so much more to talk about. So I shouldn't just talk it all out today, right? Yes? Okay. It's rainy out there. It's wet and rainy and a little bit cold. Not that bad. And we're happy. Okay, I'm not saying anything about rain anymore. God's will, not mine. And beware what you wish for. Yes, for yourself. Make sure that you know what you wish for, so that other people around you don't suddenly suffer over the blessings you're getting. Yes. Anyway, well, that's how you kind of always a little bit try to take responsibility for certain consequences, right? Even if you don't even had anything to do with it, really directly, but indirectly, you just never know. That's why, may I ask again, one more time, please do not cuss and curse. The foul energy of cussing and cursing is truly affecting the weakest ones in our society, especially the ones who are so unprotected out there, right? Yes? Yeah. Heaven can't just protect us. Right? There has to be a little bit of give and take in the physical as well. If a child's just left to its own devices or to abusers, then what? Now, if you're cussing and cursing, you're making it even worse, right? Because abusers of anything, that's what they soak up. That's what they love. Mayhem, huh? Foul language, foulness, darkness in the air. Huh? So beware, please. Right? There's so much filth out there that you can watch on TV, read, do yourself, so much, right? Yes? Where do you think all that energy's going? Yeah. And, of course, and the ones out there who are doing atrocious things to children, for example, great excuse for them to look at you all and go, you really think you're all that much better? Just saying. Not saying you're bad. Just saying beware. Right? Yes? What I said before. All right. All right. God's love and blessings always, and I will talk to y'all another time.